So this question is about um, tigers mating with members of their own immediate family. In nature, what happens is if say imagine that the forest is extensive, it's vast. So in that kind of a situation, um, when a tigress gives birth and she is raising a litter, and just imagine that there are both male and female cubs in that litter. Once the male reach around 18, 19 months, they grow much faster than females. They are much larger anyways. A male tiger can be nearly 250 kgs, whereas female tigers seldom are more than 140 or 150 kgs. And so when both the siblings are growing, the male obviously will look much larger. They are much more powerful. And so at the time of eating, when the mother brings food, cubs are playing with each other, but because males are larger, they can easily push the females away. Many a times, in these banters, the female sibling may get injured, and so the mother, at a certain time, when she starts seeing that the male is, bullying his sisters, she will stop sharing food with him. As a result, he will start starving, and within no time, he will have to fend for himself, and that's when the males are pushed out. Because of this particular behavior, males generally um don't settle around the mother's territory, because that territory belongs to the mother, but largely to a male, and that male is obviously the father of the cub, and that male will tolerate his cubs till they are with the mother. But the moment the male cub is pushed out, the father will not allow the male to settle there, and that male cub will then move further away. There are other adult males who are holding territory around his father's territory. So, and because he is not equipped to fight them, he keeps getting pushed. If the forest is vast, this will happen, and he may land 200-300 kilometers away, where he finds a place where he can live for the next 2, 3, 4 years, when it actually adds a lot more weight, and also the prowess to fight adult males. And then he will start looking for a good quality territory from himself. Oftentimes, because he's already moved so far, it is impossible for him to come back to the same area where he was born. So in conditions where the forests are vast, inbreeding is not a problem. Remember, the female, let's come back to the female. The female allows the female cubs to be with, so the mother allows the female cubs to be with her, and she eventually allocates part of her territory to them. Female cubs generally don't migrate like males do, because they are not forced out of the father's territory anyways. So that what happens is, then they occupy part of the mother's territory, and then obviously there is competition between the siblings. So if there are 2 or 3 sibling females, then the one that is strongest and is more equipped to fight others will stay within the mother's territory. The other females will be pushed out. So they live close to their natal area, and the male, that their brothers are pushed far away. And so there is hardly any possibility of those males coming back and mating with that female. However, in the current scenario, the forests have shrunk, the corridors are dwindling. So each and every forest that we have in India, they may be large like Kana, like Nagarhole, Bandipur put together. They could be in excess of 1,000 square kilometers. But that still is not large really, because a male tiger's range could be almost 200 to 250 square kilometers. So in 1,000 square kilometer area, or most of the parks are even smaller, there, because there is no habitat outside, animals are cramped and they are forced to be in that same area. And so now, with this degradation and fragmentation, what is happening is that the males are not pushed too much far away. They somehow settle in disturbed areas, in some corridor, which is substandard forest. They feed on cattle and all that, and therefore they could be within 20 to 30 kilometers from where they were born. And so it is possible for them to come back in, if they survive outside for the next 2, 3 years. And that's why the inbreeding probability has gone up. Having said that, inbreeding is definitely a problem, but because in India, especially in central India and in Western Ghats, because there is some amount of corridor and forested contiguity between the parks, um, even if in every 20, 30, 40 years, unrelated male comes into the population, uh, the genetic depression can be solved. So, if you were to isolate a population, say if you breed tigers in captivity, and then you keep mating related animals, then definitely there is huge amount of depression. But in natural condition where there is some amount of corridor left between discontinuous protected areas, uh, the inbreeding problem is not as severe if males from time to time come in, which are completely unrelated. So, inbreeding is a problem where corridors are snapped. Inbreeding is a problem where forests shrink. Inbreeding is a problem where human habitations around the forest go up drastically. So, if we can somehow control these, tigers, lions, and other carnivores are equipped to take care of the inbreeding depression because they males walk great distances. In fact, our study shows that a tiger from Kana moved to some intermediate forest down south in Maharashtra and settled there. And there the male born in Kana walked in the territory, walked along the corridor, settled somewhere in Maharashtra. He then bred there, and his cub event migrated and went further south into Nagarjuna Sagar, which is in Andhra Pradesh. So in 2 generations, the tiger actually virtually walked from Kana to Nagarjuna Sagar, which is 700 kilometers as a crow flies from each other. So it's amazing how these animals are able to pass through human habitations. But as long as the habitations were around, tigers were moving relatively, I would say, conveniently through villages in the night. But now, because of linear infrastructure, which is roads, railways, canals, electric lines, because that is now growing, and the speeds on both railway tracks and the roads have gone up, that migration now is under tremendous stress. A lot of animals are killed every year on roads and on railway tracks, and so many of those are those transient males who are fighting the inbreeding. So those are the males who are actually walking great distances, and they would enter a new population and pass on their unique gene into that population. So that's why scientists have been constantly talking about mitigations, about not allowing corridors to be snapped by linear infrastructure, because already human habitation is creating a problem. Corridors are thinning anyways. But on top of it, when you superimpose roads, wide roads, railways, instead of one track, 3 tracks of railways, canals which are wide, some of them are 50, 60 meters wide, and power lines. All these 4 are deadly impediments for moving tigers, not only tigers, sloth bears, leopards, wolves, jackals, elephants, gaur, deer. So many animals get killed on them pretty much on a daily basis.